Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Merge and Blade, a mixture between Match 3, Puyo Puyo, and an auto battler. Merge and Blade is certainly trying to do a lot. Does it succeed? Let's find out. So what exactly is Merge and Blade? Well, it's what I said in the intro. Puyo Puyo meets an auto battler with some tweaks. The main mode here is Campaign, where you'll be going through a series of 19 missions with increasingly difficult battles. On the field itself, you'll basically be dropping 2 units, which you can rotate freely before placing onto a grid. Combine 3 or more of the same type merges them into the next tier up. It also unlocks the previous tier as available to show up in the drops. You have a limited number of drops each round, and then they go off to battle. Battling is mostly automated, but you do have a little control. A limited number of swaps let you switch 2 unit positions, which can be used for either battle tactics or to try to set up combos when the battle ends. Once you kill the beasties, they run back to the board and you do another round. There is some nuance here. Matching 4 or more gives you more turns before battles, meaning more units. Making combos gives you more swaps, allowing for more battle control and post-battle setup. Your biggest foe as the game progresses is the board cluttering with junk, because if you can't place units, it goes straight into battle and you lose whatever plays you had left. Units range in quality and abilities as well as their ideal positioning. Basic units only attack directly in front, but more advanced ones will hit areas, others might fight at range, healers will keep your units alive, and so on. The optimal strategy is to cheer up as fast as you can to add the better units to the random drops, assuming the game actually gives you those. Killing units grants gold, which can be used to buy persistent upgrades. You can upgrade individual unit types with more health and damage, buy more turns or swaps, increase the maximum tier of units you can reach, and so on. These upgrades get extremely costly very fast, so there's a bit of a grind later on. Aside from campaign, you have a roguelike mode, which is Slay the Spire-esque in its branching paths, and you also have a hero that where if he dies, you lose, and there's a challenge mode which just resets the campaign and lets you play through 5 chapters. And honestly, that is the game. It's easy to learn with a lot to unpack as you try to figure out optimal strats for both the puzzle and auto battler segments, paired with persistent upgrades and a charming pixel art style. So what did I like about Merge and Blade? Well, this game is insanely addicting. This is your warning. I picked it up expecting a quick play, and the next thing I knew it was 1 AM. Its simplicity, at least initially, makes it hard to put down. Additionally, there are lots of modes to try, although I mostly did campaign, with the roguelite stuff interesting enough and challenge a nice bite-sized playthrough. And lastly, it does have a decent amount of strategy to learn and mold your brain around, which can be satisfying if you pull it off, or that is to say, if the game lets you pull it off. On that note, let's transition to the bad. This game's balance is borked, full stop. And considering the work it takes to get to the final 3 tiered units, you'd think they'd be insanely powerful, but they really just feel like incremental upgrades. This also ties into the difficulty curve being all over the place. Some campaign levels were brutally hard, required grinding for me to beat, and then the next year would be absolute cakewalks. The same goes for individual enemies as well. Their difficulty fluctuates almost randomly. And lastly, this game is incredibly RNG reliant. The game shuffles your party when you enter and exit battle, which makes setting up combos extremely difficult. And there seems to be no rhyme or reason around which units the game gives you. Nothing like still getting tier 1 peasant when I went through all the work to get to tier 10. It should drop lower units from the pool as you rank. As you know, I rank games here on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, don't bother. And if I'm being honest, Merge and Blade is a pretty lukewarm maybe consider, especially if you're buying it rather than using Game Pass. It is a great concept that ends up requiring a level of strategy that the game just does not provide. While early games are great, the end game is an exercise in frustration, with the game weirdly getting less fun to play as it goes along. If you just want to burn a few hours and not think too hard about how weird the balance is, you can still have a fun time. Hell, I did. But after beating it, I have no desire to return, which certainly says a lot. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Have you played Merge and Blade? Are you gonna check it out? If you got Game Pass, it's at least worth looking at for a couple hours. But regardless, let me know in the comments what you think.